Hello from Weaves and hello from slidenerd. What's up folks? In this video, I'm going to talk about how to create fragments in XML. Now you can create fragments in both XML and Java, and this is the only place where creating fragments in Java is preferred over creating fragments in XML. The reason, you add the fragments to your activity at runtime dynamically using Java code in response to certain user interaction with your app, and that dynamic behavior is preferred way over the static association of the fragment with the activity through XML. So now let's see what are the different steps involved in creating a fragment. So how to create a fragment using XML? Step 1. Create a class that extends fragment. Now this fragment class which you have is the one that supports the behavior, or you can say offers the behavior of being a fragment, and your class simply extends that functionality and behavior. Then create a separate layout file or Java objects that contain the appearance. Remember, a fragment is just like a mini activity. You need to specify its appearance with the help of XML or Java. Use the onCreateView method to link its appearance. Now this is one of the methods of the fragments lifecycle. If you guys haven't seen the video about the fragments lifecycle, please go back and check it. I have explained everything about this method over there. Attach the fragment inside the activity through XML using the fragment tag or using Java. But in our case, we are gonna use this fragment tag inside our activity to put a fragment. Any number of fragments can be attached to an activity using the fragment tag. Now when you write this fragment tag, it is treated almost just like any text view, or you can say list view or grid view or something. You just add it inside your layout, you specify a match parent or wrap content for the width and height, and you're basically done. It's just like a view when you're adding here in XML. So now let's go to Android Studio and figure out how to add the fragment in XML. I'll be using Android Studio here in our case to add the fragment. So what I have is a main activity that extends the activity class with nothing inside, and an empty layout for the main activity. I've deliberately given a background color of 00BBFF to make it distinguished from the fragment. Now we need to make the fragment first. So if you guys remember, the first step was to extend the fragment class. So we need to make our own class that extends the fragment class. So going here to the package, I'm gonna say new Java class. Now if you're using Android developer tools or something, you probably have an option to directly create a fragment, but here at the time of making this video in Android Studio, there is no option. So I'm gonna call this my fragment. Click OK. So here my fragment has come. Now this is a plain normal Java class so far. Now to make this a fragment, extends fragment, and this is the one step that directly makes it into a fragment. Now the next thing we need to do is create a layout for this fragment. So I'm gonna go to layout, say new layout resource file, call it my underscore fragment underscore layout. The root element, I'm gonna keep it as a linear layout. Click OK. So here you go, something has been created for me. I'll go to the text tab here. Now I'll give this also a separate background color so I can exactly see who is the activity and who is the fragment after I finish adding stuff. So I'm gonna say background #FFBB00, one of my favorite colors, orange. And then I'm gonna go down and add a text view inside this just to show some message. I'm gonna say large text, drag and drop it here. I'm not gonna care much about extracting the strings or something. I'm gonna say hello from fragment here, and just to make sure that it looks a bit good, I'm gonna give it a margin from all sides, and that pretty much separates everything for us. So now the layout has been ready. So you see the layout is separate. This my fragment class is separate, right? We need to integrate the layout inside this class. For that, if you remember, there is a method onCreateView where you're expected to perform this work of linking the layout to your fragment class. If you go here, by default it says super.blah blah blah. That's not what we want. We want to manually do that step where we perform the association between the fragment and its layout. So I'm gonna use this Layout Inflater object. Now if you guys remember, the Layout Inflater object is a special object that converts XML view descriptions into Java objects. So I'm gonna say inflater dot inflate. Now inflate is the method which is gonna give me a Java object corresponding to this XML file which we have here. So I'm gonna say inflater dot inflate. we want to inflate the file which is called r.layout.myFragmentLayout. Second parameter is container, the third parameter is false. Now there's a whole lot of things going here when I write this one statement. In fact, so much that I have made a separate video on what this inflate does, what are the three parameters, what happens when you put a true here, what happens when you put a null here, and so on and so forth. So please go and check that video if you're not sure how the inflate method works, because there is just way too much stuff for me to explain in this video about that. So this completes the part about inflation, and we simply return it, and this completes our linking step. Now next step, our activity, as you notice, has no reference to the fragment anywhere. Neither does the XML right now. So we need to put this fragment inside our activity, either through Java code here or through XML code here. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to put this in XML here. So going to the design tab, if I go to the custom at the bottom in my Android Studio, I can see the fragment tag. I just click on it and it naturally gives me a set of choices, and you will see that my fragment is one of those choices which I just created. I'm gonna say click OK, and I'm gonna add it to the top left. Now one of the things that you cannot see is how this thing looks unless you run the app. So go to the design tab and let's just check everything. As you notice, this fragment tag here works just like any other view which is being added inside the relative layout. Here it has a width of wrap content, a height of wrap content, a name which is the fully qualified class name with the package here to specify who is the fragment class, and then the ID, the layout parent top, which are relative layout attributes basically. So this actually completes it. Let's run this. So let's Control S for save stuff and click run at the top. And ladies and gentlemen, there you go. See how simply and how clearly we added the fragment right inside the activity. Remember, the activity has blue color, the fragment has orange color, which means we are seeing the fragment right inside our activity. It just took a few steps. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about how to add a fragment inside Java code for rendering inside the activity. In the meantime, if you guys like what you saw, please subscribe to my channel, comment, let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next vid. Have a nice day.